My engagement with my partner is ruined because of a ring. My partner and I have been together for 3 years. We both love each other since the very beginning. She has brought up the topic of marriage for a while, and so I proposed to her last month in Korea where she grew up. I custom made the gold ring with a ruby and 3 diamonds on each side, but asked my parents to make it with their regular jewelry shop they've been going to for a while, out of town. I also organized a professional photographer, then asked her to marry me in a traditional Korean village. She said yes, and everything went very smoothly, except that the ring was too big. She stayed a bit longer in Korea while I returned home for work. She went with her mom to a jewelry shop the following week and asked the ring to be made smaller. The issue started when the shop attendant said the whole ring was fake, the gold, ruby, and the diamonds. I paid $1,500 for the ring, not a crazy amount, but I thought it was a pretty ring. She went to 4 different shops and everyone said pretty much the same thing. One shop valued the ring at only $30 to $40. My partner and her mom were understanding at first, saying that we would not have known. When she came back from Korea, she told me that her parents were very upset about the ring and that my parents, because they made the ring, only valued her $30. They refused to meet my parents, which was initially organized for the end of the year. Her mom said to her that it would be better if I admitted about the fake ring, with a view of buying a proper one in the future. These implied that we gave her a fake ring on purpose. My parents were very upset and told me that they won't bless our marriage. Question: is the ring really the problem here? I'm not sure how to move forward now. I never knew a ring can potentially break our 3-year-long relationship. Edit: none of us knew it was fake. A few days ago, I tested it with an X-ray at a pawn shop. The gold is real. Not sure about the ruby and diamonds. If anyone is curious how the ring looks like, I have apologized multiple times and showed them the receipt. We are both Asians. Families play a big role in our marriage. TLDR, proposed to my GF with a fake ring. Her parents accused us of doing it intentionally. My parents get upset and don't want us to continue. Update: where my fiance's parents are upset and accuse my parents of intentionally giving a fake engagement ring. Tested it in the lab, and it's a natural ruby from Burma. They can guarantee the result and can offer insurance letter. They said there is a natural crack in the ruby and natural inclusion. Probably a jewelry expert can shed some light into what these mean. Unfortunately, because the ring is now genuine, my parents are more upset about the accusation. On the other hand, my fiance's parents don't really trust the result. This is a major trust issue. We decided to let things settle before we discuss our intention of staying together and get married. Question: any suggestion on how to approach this situation? TLDR, the ruby is a genuine natural ruby. New update: 3 weeks ago we decided to take a month's break. I know taking a break is pretty much a breakup, but I said yes. I asked her today if she has spoken to her parents about the ring and about us in general. To this date, she hasn't. I have been fighting very often with my parents to defend her. My parents also got more upset when they learned she hasn't spoken to her parents at all. I asked her why, and she said at this stage she is very happy being alone because she does not have to worry about our relationship. And so, I ended it. I feel like I have been fighting this battle on my own. I have had a few relationships and breakups in the past, but this time, it really crushes me. My partner wants me to cut off the friend who introduced us, and I'm really lost. My 27M girlfriend Eva, 25F, of nearly 6 years, and I were talking about the prospect of getting engaged recently when she brought up that it was her expectation that once I propose I'd also cut contact with Leah, 27F, one of my closest friends as well as the person who introduced us. Both names are made up, for what it's worth. Some backstory: Leah and I went to the same middle school/high school, became friends along the way, and had become quite close by graduation. We didn't go to the same college, but we were still in the same area, so we stayed in touch, though we saw each other less frequently. A couple years and she told me I absolutely had to meet this girl because she just knew I'd like her. She dragged us both, both Eva and I were and still are introverts to Leah's social butterfly persona, to a small get-together, introduced us, did some wingmaning and made herself scarce for the rest of the evening. Spoiler alert, Leah was right and I did like Eva a lot from the get-go. We shared interests, hobbies, a sense of humor, and we clicked from that first evening. Leah made sure to give me every chance to not fumble this by setting up our first date shortly thereafter, and I thankfully, surprisingly, didn't fumble it. Soon enough, Eva and I were officially together and in love, moved in together once I got a job, and it felt like a foregone conclusion that eventually we get engaged, married, and all that stuff. Eva's recent demand came completely out of left field to me, as she had never raised concerns about my friendship with Leah until now, and as far as I could tell counted Leah as a friend of hers as well. Over the course of this relationship, the majority of my in-person interactions with Leah also involved Eva, and we each met with her individually outside of that. To be clear, I'm not denying that I am closer to Leah than Eva is, just saying they're not complete strangers without me in the equation. A key issue Eva raised is that I did once have a crush on Leah. Once in this case refers to when I was 15 and had just gotten to know her, and is something Eva and I discussed within our first month of dating when she asked me if there had ever been anything between us. I didn't hide anything from her, told her there was a one-sided crush at the very beginning, that had been history for a while and that nothing ever happened. She was fine with that then, and this is the first time she's brought it up since. However, she now says that if she and I are to tie the knot, she does not want someone in our lives who I once had a romantic interest in. She added that she hadn't liked my getting involved in Leah's last serious relationship by telling her to ditch the guy, which I did because she's my friend and the dude was an asshole, and that while she didn't suspect that anything had happened between me and Leah at this stage, she didn't want to take the chance, especially as Leah now has a pronounced interest in finding someone to settle down with. Eva told me there's no hurry and that this wasn't an ultimatum and didn't want to argue about it, but that I should wrap my head around this ahead of proposing to her, which we weren't talking about as a tomorrow thing, but not something too far in the future either. I haven't talked to Leah, or anyone, really, about this yet because I'm still hoping this is something that can be diffused, and bringing her into it now seems counterproductive in that regard, both because it could get her pissed at Eva and Eva pissed at me. I'm really conflicted. On the one hand, Leah is an important friend to me, one who's done a lot for me over the years, brought me out of my shell when I was an awkward teen. On the other hand, by far what I'm most thankful to her for is that she introduced Eva to me, so throwing that away is really a non-starter. But back to the one hand, I don't really feel like Eva is making much of a case here. I'd even be willing to concede that the near-forgotten and short-lived crush could still be a valid argument, but not when it was a non-issue for 6 years. I just don't know how I'm supposed to approach this. Update. So, this weekend, and after getting all my thoughts in order, I let Eva know we needed to talk and what it was about. She initially pushed back, reiterating she didn't want to argue, but I insisted and told her it shouldn't need to be an argument and we should be able to discuss this. I proceeded by telling her that she is the one I love and want to be with, that Leah is still just a friend, albeit an important one, but that I would not be cutting her out of my life, as that was an unreasonable request to make in the absence of inappropriate behavior from either of us. I told her that this stance was final and added that I hoped we'd be able to communicate and get to the bottom of where this all stemmed from and move forward together. She wasn't happy about this, but she didn't shut down the discussion either, and we had a long talk afterwards. Among other things, she again conceded that Leah hadn't done or said anything to cause issues between Eva and I, and that she did actually know that the 12-year-old crush was not really relevant, nor was it a big deal, and she was kinda grasping at straws bringing it up. As it turns out, a bigger factor for her was my involvement in Leah's breakup last year and a perceived change in the aftermath of that. She told me that she didn't disagree the guy was an ass, or even that someone needed to convince Leah to break it off, but that she hadn't been comfortable about the way I'd gone about it. I talked about it in a comment on the original post, but basically I just up and decided to do it myself at some point, went to Leah's place and convinced her she deserved better. At the time, I told Eva I'd be doing that, but didn't consult with her about the how or anything. She went on to say she had this sinking feeling that I was not just a friend in Leah's eyes anymore since then. She mentioned Leah had been single ever since, not dating much yet, had voiced a desire to settle down soon, and that I was the guy closest to her. She admitted these things weren't in and of themselves evidence of anything, but that she couldn't shake the feeling. I told her that I didn't think it was the case and that Leah had always been and continued to be supportive of our relationship and that maybe talking to her about it could help. We put that thought aside for the time being, and I brought up that her request suggested that she didn't really trust me and that was a big issue. Eva didn't really know what to say to that aside from reiterating she wasn't accusing me of having done anything or of having any intention to, that this was about Leah and that if she was right about her seeing me differently now, our proximity would be a problem whether anything happened or not. I told her that I agreed with that last point on principle, but that it all hinged on a basically unsubstantiated if. Lastly, I asked Eva how all this had affected her own friendship with Leah, because I hadn't noticed major changes there. She said she doesn't harbor animosity towards Leah because of the lack of tangible reasons to, but that her suspicions have indeed meant that there had been a definite cooling in that relationship from her side, and described her interactions with Leah as cordial and not much more for the past while. I told her that I wasn't going to demand they be friends, of course, but reiterated that discussing things with Leah might help. I brought up couples therapy at various points throughout this discussion. Eva was initially apprehensive about the idea, but I insisted that it wasn't a matter of doubting my relationship with her, but one of getting qualified counseling to help us get through this stronger than before. We have started looking into it, and this will make it on the agenda once we find someone suitable. End of the day, Eva abandoned the idea of forcing me to cut Leah out of my life at this stage, but we have things to sort through still. I'm glad I was able to actually discuss it with her this time around, and hopeful counseling will provide the help we need. P.S. I'd like to thank the people who threw advice my way on the original submission. I don't know that there'll be another update, but I owed you this one at least. Sorry if it's a bit of a word salad. Left a bunch of stuff out, but if you have specific questions, I'll try to answer. I want to divorce my husband, but everyone keeps telling me I will die alone if I do so. What is the best course of action? I, 37F, caught my husband, 40M, cheating on me with my daughter's teacher. We have 3 kids, 12M, 9F, 4F. We have been married for 15 years and together for 20 years. But recently I found out he has been cheating. I reported the teacher and separated from my husband. I served him divorce papers because cheating has always been a deal breaker for me. My husband has begged a lot, but I still didn't budge. It's been 1.5 months since I served him divorce. I have had people try to convince me to stay. I've heard numerous advices, but most common were, all men cheat. If I leave my husband and find a new man, the chances that he will cheat on me is still high. Better to stay with him. 2. I will be a single mom. A single mom with 3 kids have a difficult time finding a new partner. We have baggage. Besides, I am 37. 3. I should just let him cheat because at the end of the day he still provides and pays the bills. 4. Think about your kids and how it will affect them. Divorce is always harsh on kids. 5. I am taking their father away from them. All these I avoided. But what struck me was what my mother said. My mom also divorced my dad when he cheated. Our dad abandoned us after the divorce was final. I barely talked to him. My mother said sometimes she wishes she didn't divorce my dad. He left us because he was angry that my mom didn't want to work things out. If she had just worked things out, I would still have a dad. Part of the reason she was single till I was 18 because she didn't want strange men to groom me and take advantage of me. She said to think about it. I have thought about this for a long time. I cannot even look at him. His factor disgusts me. The last time he touched my arm, I jerked it off. I am fine if I never date again. But I've always had abandonment issues. I think about my children and it makes me want to change my mind. But how can I stay with a man who disgusts me? We will be living like roommates. I need some insights on what is the right thing to do for me and New York kids. TLDR, my husband cheated. I want divorce. But people keep telling me I am wrong to do so. Update. Hello everyone, just wanted to give a quick update. Recently I had my LASIK operation done on my eyes. So I wasn't available to answer all the PMs and comments. I wasn't allowed screen time for 48 to 72 hours, but thanks to all of you who opened my eyes. I was having some doubts. In my mind, I was doing the right thing. But people were telling me I should reconsider. So it created a doubt whether I'm doing the right thing or not. But the comments from people has cleared it. So where are we? That's the discussion I had with my STBX. My STBX came to see me during my operation. I never asked him, but he still came. He took me home after my operation. Since I wasn't allowed to put pressure or dust in eyes, it made majority of the chores very difficult to do. But he did all my chores, starting from dusting, cooking and laundry. He was with me, reminding me to take my eye drops. It felt good. For once I thought I got my husband back. But I thought about this a lot. He never did anything like this unless I asked him to. He never did my portion of the chores even when I was sick with a flu. He is only doing this to be on my good side. I don't want someone who only acts nice only to gain something. Plus the messages he shared with his AP still haunts me. It's been imprinted in my brain. I don't think doing 2 days worth of chores will make me forget the humiliation me and my kids went through because of him. So I sat him down. It's easier to talk to him wearing glasses. I told him I'm still going through with the divorce. I am not going to take his kids away from him. He is still their dad. I can never live under the same roof. Even if I take his advice and go to counseling together, I would still never be able to let go of the fact that he cheated. Our kids don't deserve parents who resent the other. It's better we part our ways and continue as a co-parent. I did suggest counseling as a family so that we can be the best co-parent. But as far as being married, that's out of the question. He can resent me all he wants, but he still has to be there for the kids. He agreed. Although I can see the sadness in his eyes. He said sorry for everything that he has done. He opened up about his affair. That he just thought it would be great. Because we got so stuck in our mundane lives that the affair was an escape. But he didn't realize what he was losing. He blocked his affair partner and ended his relationship with her. He acknowledges that not only he destroyed his marriage, but also ruined her career. He also stooped so low in his kids' eyes. He also said he will never date again. I told him to not make promises he knows he cannot keep. Another problem we are facing now is our kids. My oldest son knows what's happening. Apparently, the rumors has reached his school. The teacher taught my middle child. So she also knows. My son is not talking to his dad. He even refused to eat the meal he cooked and has been living on peanut butter and jelly sandwich. My other kids followed his lead. He refuses to talk to my STBX and it hurts him. I even caught him crying 1 to 2 times. I can understand what my kids are going through. I don't want them to hate their dad. He is a crappy husband but a great dad. I don't know what to do with them. If you have suggestions, please let me know. Also, I cannot reply to all the comments because I'm only allowed 30 minutes of screen time every 2 hours. But I will read the comments once I'm fully recovered. TLDR, had LASIK surgery. Had the talk with my STBX. We are still getting divorced. Kids still hate him.